Starting at age 30, your body loses roughly 3 to 5% of muscle mass per decade. By age 70, most people have lost 30% of the muscle they had at their peak. What most people don't know is that this loss is not inevitable, it's largely preventable. And the interventions are well documented, accessible, and effective at any age. Research shows this pattern is more consistent across populations than previously understood. A 2019 consensus report in Age and Aging estimated that sarcopenia, the clinical term for age-related muscle loss, affects up to 50% of adults over 80. It doubles the risk of falls, significantly increases fracture risk, and is independently associated with earlier mortality. The science says this is not just about appearance. It's about how long, and how well, you live. In this video, we are going to see the mechanism behind age-related muscle and bone loss, what the research says are the most effective interventions, and how to build a practical protocol that preserves your physical function for decades. Research shows this pattern is more consistent across populations than previously understood. Studies find these effects are measurable and reproducible across independent research groups. There is a common and dangerous misconception about aging and physical decline. Many people believe that muscle and bone loss are inevitable, just part of getting older. The research tells a very different story. Sarcopenia and osteoporosis are diseases driven by inactivity and nutritional insufficiency, not by the aging process itself. The aging body retains the capacity to build muscle and increase bone density at any age when given the right stimulus. The physiological mechanism behind muscle loss involves a shift in the balance between muscle protein synthesis and breakdown. After age 30, the anabolic response to protein intake diminishes. Older muscle is less sensitive to amino acid signals. This is called anabolic resistance. It means older adults need more protein and more resistant stimulus to produce the same muscle building response as younger people. Bone loss follows a parallel but distinct process. Peak bone density is reached around age 30. After that, bone remodeling gradually shifts toward breakdown exceeding formation, accelerated in women after menopause due to estrogen decline. The result is osteopenia, then osteoporosis. A hip fracture in a person over 70 carries a 1-year mortality rate of 20 to 30%. This is a life-threatening consequence of preventable bone loss. The research on resistance training for older adults is consistent and compelling. A comprehensive review in the American Journal of Medicine found that progressive resistance training in adults over 50 increases lean muscle mass by an average of 1.1 kilograms in 20 weeks, improves strength by 25 to 30%, and significantly improves functional markers including walking speed, balance, and the ability to rise from a chair. Vitamin D is one of the most important and most commonly deficient nutrients for bone and muscle health. Research in JAMA showed that supplementing with 700 to 800 IU of vitamin D daily reduced hip fracture risk by 26% in older adults. Vitamin D is essential for calcium absorption, muscle function, and immune regulation. Yet over 40% of US adults are estimated to have insufficient levels. The factors that preserve muscle and bone with age work through multiple pathways. Research ranks them by their measurable effect on muscle mass retention and bone mineral density in adults over 50. When combined, their effects are additive. Each addresses a different mechanism of loss. Research shows this pattern is more consistent across populations than previously understood. Studies find these effects are measurable and reproducible across independent research groups. Protein quality matters as much as quantity when it comes to fighting anabolic resistance. Research shows leucine, an essential amino acid found in high concentrations in dairy, eggs, and meat, is the primary trigger for muscle protein synthesis. Without adequate leucine at each meal, the anabolic signaling pathway remains underactivated even if total protein intake is sufficient. Research shows this pattern is more consistent across populations than previously understood. The protocol that research supports for preventing sarcopenia and osteoporosis combines resistance training, protein intake, impact loading for bone, and micronutrient sufficiency. Each addresses a different mechanism. Missing any one of them leaves a significant protection gap. Research shows this pattern is more consistent across populations than previously understood. Studies find these effects are measurable and reproducible across independent research groups. The timeline for measurable results when the prevention protocol is applied consistently is encouraging. Research consistently shows improvements in both muscle and bone markers within 12 to 24 weeks, even in adults in their 70s and 80s. Research shows this pattern is more consistent across populations than previously understood. Studies find these effects are measurable and reproducible across independent research groups. The daily habits that preserve muscle and bone over the long term are specific and practical. The key insight from research is that even modest but consistent application of these principles produces clinically significant improvements, especially for adults who have been sedentary. Research shows this pattern is more consistent across populations than previously understood. Studies find these effects are measurable and reproducible across independent research groups. Your starting point determines the order of priority. Research shows that the largest gains from targeted intervention come in adults who are most efficient, meaning the later you start, the more rapidly you can improve if you apply the protocol correctly. Research shows this pattern is more consistent across populations than previously understood. Studies find these effects are measurable and reproducible across independent research groups. Muscle and bone loss with age are real, but they are not inevitable. The research is clear: resistance training, adequate protein, impact-loading exercise, and micronutrient sufficiency work together to preserve and even build physical capacity at any age. The older you are when you start, the more rapidly your body responds. There is no age at which it's too late to begin. The research is unambiguous. Your physical capacity in your 60s, 70s, and 80s is largely determined by what you do now. Not genetics. Not luck. The habits you build today are the body you live in later. And the science gives you a very clear playbook for how to build it. If today's video helped clarify something, share it with someone who needs it. Most people never see research summarize this clearly.